And welcome to this very special episode of Dodger and Trash, the podcast. We have a very special guest with us. But before we introduce him, Trash has some announcements to make. So take it away, Trash.
I know for the last episode, we kind of roughly talked about some Twitter stuff and some email stuff. I'm happy to announce that we do have a Twitter page and an email. I think we'll kind of use that for like guests and stuff for business purposes. But anyways, just so I don't mess this up, let me actually look at it so I know I mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
The Twitter is at Dodger Trash Show, so don't put the and then the email is in the bio of that. So if you're looking at the email, otherwise the email is it's the Dodger and Trash Show, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
So put the in there. If you need like talk about guests or whatever the case might be, we have that up and running. So that's good to go. I think that's all the announcements I had off the top of my head.
Okay, great.
If I think about it, I'll just say it at the end. So.
Oh, okay. Well, joining us tonight is what I consider one of the legends in the MLB The Show, the community. He's been a mod with me on Kevin God's Twitch channel. Hopefully he's still a mod. I know I'm not. I evidently got fired from that position. But we'll talk about that later. We have a huge New York Yankees fan and president of the Glaber Tories fan club. We have TheScann. How are you? How are you doing, man?
Doing great, just chilling. You know how it is.
Oh yeah. How is school going for you?
It's been going pretty solid. It's been kind of getting a little busy the last few weeks, but it's been pretty solid. It hasn't been nearly as bad as my undergraduate stuff, so now we're looking pretty fine so far.
Okay, and what are you going to school for?
Yeah, I'm going to grad school for math teaching. I was originally going to be an actuary, if anyone knows what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got to the point of graduating, I realized I didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to decide to go into math teaching, and I've been loving it so far.
You know,
see where that takes me.
You know, curiously enough, I was going to school to be a math teacher, and unfortunately, pre-calculus, that just cured me of that idea. I do have the formula for the quadratic. I actually have the quadratic formula still memorized. That's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So
yeah.
You
never forget that one.
Oh, I never forget that, and I'd probably prefer doing that than was it what they call. I can't remember what the alternative is, but anyway, I'm
completing the square.
Completing the square. Thank you very much.
Yep.
But anyway, so the first thing I think we want to talk about, or we should talk about, is, and I'm not being a homer here, it's the Dodgers winning the World Series. I've heard a lot of people say, well, you know, it doesn't count. It was a shortened season. I think it was even harder considering everything going on. That and the fact that you had more teams in the playoffs this year. So I definitely believe the two teams that deserve to be in the World Series were in the World Series, and you know, somebody had to lose. Unfortunately, the Tampa Bay Rays lost, and I'm only saying that because you never know if Gomes the legend is watching this. You know, my heart goes out to you, Gomes, but suck it, buddy. Dodgers are world champions. Thank you very much. I've waited 32 years to say that. Now, there is a bit of controversy, a couple of controversies. First controversy is Blake Snell being taken out of the fifth inning. Do you think Kevin Cash might be going over his resume and maybe possibly rethinking his decision, or do you think that maybe he did make the right decision? You know, given the circumstances, you know, Blake Snell did get rocked. or did get hit around in his first outing after that fifth inning. So you go ahead and let me know, Scan. What do you think?
So for me, it's interesting because, I mean, I see how he made the move. They've been doing that all year. Snell hasn't really pitched super late into many games this year, at least from what I saw. And, you know, it was getting to the third time of the order. So I don't think it was something he planned on doing where, like, at the start of games, he's not going to see them 3 times. He's not going to go past his inning. I think it was just a gut thing, and it had been working for them all year. Honestly, the bullpen didn't show out, and that's also in part because you're in a 7-game series, and they've seen the relievers a few times over the span of a few games. So I think it's a kind of thing where it's, like, in his head, and, like, probably looks back on it, probably doesn't regret it because he's been doing that all year, and it's what got them to that point. But obviously, you know, the context of the situation, Nick Anderson came in and gave up the runs. Then, you know, obviously you probably would have rather have given Snell the chance and seen if he could get that another inning or two, I would say.
Yeah. Well, because Snell was just flat out dealing, and
he was.
Yeah, and he gave up. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but he did give up that first hit to Barnes, a sharp single up the middle, and was that? Did he give up? Let me think. I'm trying to think back. Who the next batter was, or did he get taken out after that?
I think it was right after that first hit, if I remember correctly. I think that was when he had gotten taken out.
Right, because then Mookie came up with Ian Anderson, and he hit the double down the third base lane. And so then you're looking at runners at third and second with I think it was 1 out or maybe nobody out.
1 or none, I think.
Yeah, and but
yeah, it's definitely tough. I mean, as a Yankee fan, we've been dealing with those kind of managerial decisions for a couple years now. Aaron Boone does that kind of thing in the playoffs, and sometimes, yeah, you can knock them for it. But, like, the big thing I've learned, I think, from watching the Yankees in the postseason, who are a strong bullpen team, kind of like the Rays were, is that you kind of have to have faith in your starters still. Like, your relievers could be as good as they want, but you're playing a team over a span of 5 or 7 games. So you could dish out your relievers, but, like, they're seeing them a few times.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll be able to read into how they pitch you. And they could be as nasty as they want. But if you're seeing them over that span of games, they're going to read into them.
Right.
So they need to, I think, if there's anything the Yankees need to have faith in their starters. And if the Rays did anything wrong, it was this postseason, it was that right there.
Yeah.
It was burning their bullpen as much as they did.
Yeah.
They have a great bullpen. You got to have faith in it. But they were churning them out each game, it felt like.
Yeah, and John Boy made the point in one of his videos, and I really wish I had time to go back to it and look exactly what that stat was. But he said that Mookie Betts, third time through the order, third time against the pitcher, his it was OBS on base percentage or something like that, whatever, his whatever stat. It actually got worse. So things were favoring Snell until that point. But I don't.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't think he looked into the numbers of that for sure.
No,
he just did it. He felt it for sure.
No, he
got the decision.
He was he honestly, he did what he thought was best, and I honestly don't fault him for that. Everyone on Twitter was just going like, oh, he took him out. There go, Kevin Cash for World Series MVP for the Dodgers. And I'm thinking, let's just hold off a little bit. And then, of course, Ian Anderson gives up the wild pitch. Barnes scores from third. And, the rest is history from there. What do you think, Trash?
For the first, I think, 4-ish innings, Snell dominated. The Dodgers couldn't hit him. So at first I was thinking, why take him out? The Dodgers couldn't hit him, so I think it'd be dumb to take him out. Right. Well, it kind of looked like Snell was getting a little bit tired, but I still think he could have gone, especially because the Rays had the more dominant bullpen, probably out of any other team in the league for that game. So me personally, I think it was either you eat some innings with Snell and maybe save your pen for a little bit later in the game when you desperately need them, or you go straight to your pen. And because they're so good. So I think they just went straight to their pen and maybe didn't have as much faith in Snell as they should have.
Right.
And now I think looking back on it, on that day and watching the game, I would stuck Snell out there for as long as he could have gone. Now if he's getting tired or like his arm is sore, then yeah, maybe consider pulling him. But if the Dodgers couldn't hit him those first couple innings, then yeah. But when he got pulled, he did get hit up a little bit, but not to cause damage or give up any runs. Maybe if they score maybe 1 or 2 or something, then yeah, maybe pull him. But from what I was watching firsthand, he wasn't giving up homers or doubles. Nothing crucial, we'll put it that way. So you might have gotten away with getting him out there yet, but I wouldn't blame Kevin Cash for pulling him. I mean, it's the World Series, kind of the biggest game of the year, kind of. And for the Rays, I know I said this earlier in episodes and stuff. For the Rays, it's win or go home kind of deal for them. You know? The Dodgers could have afforded to lose that game and then come back and still play another game.
Yeah.
And if the Dodgers wanted to take a chance on something, they could have. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he did give up that one hit, that first hit to Barnes, and Blake Snell even said that was a mistake pitch. You know, he left that right in the middle of the plate, and Barnes, knocked it up the middle. You know, he tipped his cap to him. So, maybe maybe it was the end for him. And he's such a gamer that of course he wants to stay out there and keep pitching. But he who's to say that he leaves a couple of other mistake pitches out there and still gets knocked around. So I definitely think Kevin Cash did the right thing. Hindsight's always 20/20. But still, I do think he did make the right decision. I think Blake Snell was gassed. He was getting to that point in the game where you're going to start hanging pitches to batters, and you're going to make mistakes and get knocked around. But I actually do have a confession. But right before the game started, I was at work, of course. We've been working a lot of long hours because it is ham season where I work. I do meat processing, and so I went to the restroom where I have my locker at, and got my Bluetooth headset right here. Put one earbud in, had my hoodie over my head so no one could see that I had didn't have my proper earplugs in, and I was listening to the game at work. First inning, I caught the Randy Arozarena home run, because at first I was thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have much faith in Tony Gonsolin, but I still got it. This is such a big game for us. I cannot miss a pitch, and so by the time I got up back to the packaging floor, I heard it's time for Dodger baseball, and so I'm like, yeah, here we go. And all of a sudden, Randy Arozarena takes that outside pitch. I mean, that ball was like a couple inches outside. So he props to Randy Arozarena. I mean, that was not Tony Gonsolin's fault. But yeah, so yeah. And I know the only reason why I'm saying this is because I know no one from work is going to listen to this. So, that's it. I can get that off my chest. Now the second controversy I think we probably should talk about is Justin Turner celebrating with the team after he tested positive for COVID-19. He's taken a lot of heat over this. He violated MLB protocols. Sure. He did say that he was not feeling, he was showing, he was sensing no signs of symptoms, or he said he felt fine. But But some people are talking about suspensions. Some people are. I have even heard one person say that they should have the World Series trophy pulled from them, which I think is very extreme and yeah, totally not going to happen. But and as far as I've heard, I've not heard of one player testing positive for COVID-19. But I did talk to Benny No about this. He says that Justin Turner is facing a lot of undue heat. Even the Los Angeles Times wrote a bad article about him, and he was really upset because Justin Turner has done a lot for the community in LA there. But I just wanted to know what you guys thought about that.
Yeah, I found the whole situation weird. Like, he found out it was positive during the game. Like, I thought that normally they would handle that, like, before the game even started. Because, in the end, he was already out on the field in the dugout with all the teammates while he was tested positive, which is worth noting. I mean, personally, I still think it wouldn't have been worth going out there and celebrating. I take it very seriously, but his mentality is probably like, I was already out here with all these guys. I was in the dugout at the start of this game doing whatever, and then now I'm suddenly positive,
Yeah.
And, you get a ton of emotions when you win that World Series trophy, so it probably wasn't much of a thinking thing. I mean, like, I think there's maybe be some sort of, like, reprimand involved, like, I don't know, maybe like a fine or something for doing that, but, it is what it is. I don't think you can bash the guy. I mean, I don't know all the details either, so it's like, I really don't. I mean, you win the World Series. I mean, like, you want to go out there and celebrate with your team. I mean, I don't necessarily blame him for wanting to do that.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. What do you think, Trash?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know the NFL, some MMA, maybe even basketball, any other sports teams or anything else. Don't you get tested before, like, you go on the road or before the game even starts?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, okay, so that's a good point there. Okay, so I don't know if it's true or not, so nobody bash me or anything. But maybe before they even got on the road, if he tested negative, then yeah, he's fine to play. But then maybe mid-game he picked it up from somebody or whatever the case is. So I wouldn't definitely wouldn't suspend him. Okay, I could see a fine, because for an MLB player, a fine's nothing to them. But do I think it's a big issue where Twitter should be, like, on fire and screaming at other people and all that stuff? No.
No.
I did hear the conversation of, well, Turner was one of their highest tickers. Yes and no. I say yes because that's true in my eyes. I say no because they probably would have won without him. I mean, Seager is a prime example. I know Bellinger was getting some hits. Mulkey was kind of on fire. So I don't think Turner being in the game or out of the game would have made a difference.
Right.
Now, my only worries would be, depending if Turner did spread it, well then yeah, you gotta worry about that. But the fact that he was allowed, I'll put that in quotations, allowed to play, it doesn't infuriate or make me mad or anything. It just probably won't make a difference. But then I know you mentioned, like, take the trophy away. Well, no. But then if you're going to take the trophy away, then you got to take him away from the Astros, and that's a different conversation. But you know where I'm going with that. No.
Yeah, and I think that...
So either way, I think whatever happens, people are going to say, oh, it's unfair. And then you have other people saying, oh, that's totally fair. So it is what it is. I think we should wait and see what happens, and then maybe discuss that more, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and then...
So, I don't really know.
Yeah. And then I also saw a lot of people that were upset because some people weren't wearing masks. Some people were taking their masks off. And I'm just going like, come on, people. Let's just let them have fun. Let them celebrate. Let's just, I mean, okay, maybe I should put on a mask now and follow proper protocols. No, I don't think so. I don't know. It's they're young. They have their kids out there. That was what another person was freaking out. They're going like, oh, they have their kids out there and they don't have masks and stuff. And I'm feeling so much anxiety, and I'm like.
That's the thing, though. Like, as well, like the thing that's different with like them, like being baseball players, like they're getting tested for COVID.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like you're going out to a public area. I'm not going out to the local grocery store without my mask on. It's a lot of those dudes have been tested for COVID, and you know, most of them. I mean, they don't have it. Most of them. So like,
right.
You know, honestly, all of them shouldn't have it for the most. Like, that's how it should be. So like, if you're not wearing a mask, it's like. Not the biggest deal.
No,
I mean,
it's not.
I get it. Only in that specific situation, though. Like, if it were like out in a public area, then you know, obviously they need to have that on.
Right.
But they're in a stadium where, you know, the players on the field and all the people on the field should have probably been tested.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. So I know there have been a couple of managerial hires. We have. The new manager for the White Sox, correct me if I'm wrong, but is Tony La Russa? How do we all feel about that hire? I mean, Tony La Russa's been out of the game for almost 10 years or more.
He has been, but that dude knows how to manage. I mean, like out of all like the options that are probably out there, I mean, he has experience. He had done it for years. And with the White Sox team that's young, that's kind of getting into the swing of things this year, I think having that name could only help them. Yeah. I mean, they might as well try it now. Go give it a go. Give La Russa a try. Give some the young guys exposure to an experienced baseball manager. And worst comes to worst, you get someone new down the road. But for now, I think I'm on board with it. I don't think there's any reason to really be nervous.
Yeah. I know there were some White Sox fans that were just freaking out. And I know one in particular whose name escapes me right now on Twitter. He was not happy. And I can't... I always put myself on the spot and then my mind goes blank. Yeah, they just didn't like this hire. What do you think, Trash?
Well, I'll put this out there. I know nothing about the guy, but knowing that he's got experience. Now, my only worry is, I wouldn't say it's an expectation, but I do fully think that the White Sox might be worse next year. I mean, you got a new manager. He's got to learn the team and all that kind of stuff, get in the routine, whatever the case is. So I definitely think they might take a step back instead of maybe staying where they were like this year, where they were good. Or maybe make that step farther, or forward, I should say, excuse me. But
right.
I think if you can get the job done, and they win games, and there's no locker room problems, or behind the scenes, whatever you want to say about it, or call it, I think it's going to work out for them. So I don't understand why everybody would be mad. But that's with anything, though, whether it's football, or when something new happens, you have to adjust to it, and get used to it, whatever. So if they can make it work, I think it's probably going to be effective and it's going to work. And then you look towards down the line, maybe you keep them around for a couple more seasons. And if you really like them, then extend them long term, like a player or something.
Right.
So I guess depending on how it works out, then maybe start planning for the future. Well, if you have a good season here, okay, then maybe think about keeping him around for the next season. Well, if he's bad, then okay, maybe work to adjust some stuff. Or maybe like, hey, we're not like this, or hey, we love that kind of thing. So we'll have to see how it works.
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of early to tell. But then I think of Joe Madden. Why, I have no idea. But let's look at when he was with the Cubs. I think last year in a couple of years, he was phenomenal there. But then he goes to the Angels and just fell apart. It seemed like.
Well,
could we see that with the White Sox? Probably not. Don't know yet.
Right. Do you think Joe Madden needs a couple more years in the Angels system, though?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reason that team struggled this year was not because of Joe Madden. It's because they don't have pitching.
Exactly.
I'm strongly convinced that they have not signed pitching, like big name pitchers in the postseason in a minute.
Right. I honestly didn't expect. I can't think of his name
and
right
they signed
now.
Rendon, so like I know a couple other guys showed out for a little bit.
Right. I'm gonna have to look up, do a little investigating. But I know AJ Hinch is the next. Was the other manager, new manager that got
Tigers,
hired,
right? Was it
for
Tigers?
the Tigers? Yeah. And I don't know how I feel about that because there's still that controversy going or hanging over his head. I think he had a great deal to do with the whole sign stealing operation. But I don't know. How do you guys feel? Do you think this was a good hire?
Well, here's how I think about the whole situation. Well, I mean, clearly AJ Hinch is a good manager. I mean, the Astros team succeeded basically every year that he was a manager for the last couple years, and he did a great job managing that team. Obviously, there's the sign stealing stuff, and it is what it is. He's definitely a good manager. I think if there's anything to really point out, it's the fact that he was managing the Astros just last season, and it was not even to the end of this season where he got rehired by another team. So like that's why the people talk like, oh, did he get punished enough for it? Blah blah blah, and that's really where I think a lot of the negativity should be focused on, rather than him or the Tigers. Listen, the Tigers are looking for a good manager, and he's a good manager. They can't blame them for signing him. I mean, there's worry about that, but there's no way he can't do the same thing again. Like, he's not gonna do that same cheating again to the Tiger system.
No,
like, he previously did it. He should be over that now.
Right.
So you're getting a good manager at the end of the day.
Yeah. How do you feel about it, Trash? Do you feel like this was a good signing?
I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, what Scan said, excuse me, not what I said. With the whole Astros thing, I know this is a weird comparison, but him and Springer, yeah, they were accused of cheating, but they're good at what they do, whether you think they're cheaters or not. And you see it in kind of both of them. I mean, Springer's phenomenal. AJ's phenomenal, I guess. Like I said, I haven't, seen any of his work or, investigating or anything like that. So it's hard for me to judge him when I haven't, in a way, seen him in action, if you know what I'm saying, kind of, or catch my drift, whatever. So I guess it's kind of more, for me at least, kind of that waiting game and kind of see what he's going to bring to the table. If he's going to be good or he's going to be bad. I guess it all depends for me.
Right. Going back to the Angels, there was a name that I couldn't think of, but I just looked it up and found it. Dylan Bundy had just a phenomenal season for the Angels. I don't think I would have ever expected him to break out like he did after coming over from the Orioles. So I'm hoping that I'm also an Angel fan too. I'm like 80% Dodger, 20% Angel fan. My parents used to take me to both Angel and Dodger games growing up, and so I'm hoping that Dylan Bundy can take his success that he had this year and carry it over for next year. But this is the other topic I wanted to touch on. Free agents. What free agents are available this year, and where do you think they could end up?
I actually have a list of the 10. I got these from the Draft Neck Mark video, so shout out to him and credit to him on that.
Okay. Just
the top 10 that he listed was Charlie Morton, Nelson Cruz, Marcus Stroman, Michael Brantley, Liam Hendricks, Marcelo Zuna, Marcus Simeon, DJ LeMahieu, JT Realmuto, Trevor Bauer, and George Springer.
Ooh. DJ LeMahieu, Scan, what do you think about him? Do you think the Yankees re-sign him? Or do you think
I think if there's anything the Yankees are doing this offseason, it's re-signing DJ LeMahieu and going after a starter or two. Because they're losing Tanaka this offseason, I believe, or they're supposed to, and they're losing Paxton as well. So they have to definitely get some starting pitching. I think they'll probably not try to re-sign those dudes, but they got to re-sign DJ LeMahieu. Like, they know how crucial he was for the Yankees. If they were smart, they re-sign him and they lock him down for a while in the Yankee uniform.
I would. Yeah, it was. How old is DJ LeMahieu? How many years do you think he has left?
He's I don't even remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
I know he's not
I think he's at least 30. I know that.
30?
Around 30 or something.
Yeah.
Like
he's that kind of player though that even though he might be the age, he's actually 32 right now.
32. Okay.
He should be that kind of player that can play. Like he's not a power hitter. He's not playing off his speed or anything. He just knows how to get the bat on the ball well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's that kind of player that like he can last longer.
Yeah.
Just for the kind of the baseball he plays. So.
And from what I could tell, he was a pretty good defensive.
Very good.
Yeah.
He plays second base, but he can also play first. He's played a bit around the infield for them, I believe.
Mm-hmm. I think one Yankee game I saw, he was actually playing third base for them. So he's got some range. A lot of people are talking about where Trevor Bauer's going. And some people would like to see him in an Angel uniform. Some people would like to see him in a Yankee uniform. So I know Daddy Dimmy would like to see him in a Braves uniform. But I don't know the Dodgers what their salary cap is at right now. But where can you predict where Trevor Bauer goes? Because I would like to see him in an Angel uniform. I think that's one signing the Angels need to pull the trigger on.
I think the Angels make the most sense to me, and I think I would, even though I'm a Yankee fan, I'd like to see him as a Yankee. I would probably want to see the most just for the sake of that franchise. Like I want to see Mike Trout compete in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And, he hasn't had the pitching staff, especially to support that offense they have. So, if they work on that, if they got a guy like Trevor Bauer, that's a big name to bolster down that rotation. I will say, though, I think he's going to troll at least every team once this offseason.
Yeah.
And convince every fan base he's coming to their team for at least a day. He's already started. He's just going to keep on trolling everyone. Mm-hmm. I know a ton of people are saying that he doesn't want to go to New York because him and Garrett Cole have some, bitterness with each other, I guess you could say. That's what I was hearing from some people. I don't know how much of a big deal that is. Also, I heard, a couple people be like, oh, he's not going to sign a long-term contract. He said he'd only do, a couple-year contract. There's no way he doesn't sign a long-year contract this season to cement money for 5-6 years down the road if he can. At this point, so
right.
I really don't know what is going to happen. I mean, I would say I would love him as a Yankee, though. I would love him.
Right.
Him and Garrett Cole at top of the rotation would just be disgusting.
What do you think, Trash?
If we're saying Bauer, I say Bauer stays with the Reds. The Reds, I think, need to give him as much as they can, and they can't afford to lose him. I mean, if you can keep Bauer, Castillo, and Gray together, we saw what they could do this year. I do see Bauer having a chance or possibly even leaving, but the Reds are going to probably do whatever they can to not let him split. He's just way too valuable. Probably had his best season of his career last year, because technically we're in the offseason, so I think the Reds go out and basically give him the bag and extend him long term and try and keep them three together.
Okay.
I could see the Angels, but I think if they can keep Bundy around and hopefully kind of keep him to where he was at and continue to hope that he's good, well then you kind of have that 1-2 with Bauer and Bundy. But I still say that he stays with the Reds. But you're gonna have every single team give him an offer, or at least try to give him an offer. But Bauer is also kind of that guy where he'll tease the social media like, oh hey, or he'll try to hint something, and then he'll do a complete 180 and sign with a whole different team than what he hinted at. He's just that kind of guy.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think he stays with the Reds.
Okay. I know you guys. I'm sure Scan is a World Series player. I'm sure you're a World Series player, Trash.
I'm not.
You're not? What's your highest?
I'm close, but I'm not officially.
What's
I can hit 700, 800.
Okay, so how are we feeling about the new World Series reward?
I think Willie Mays is going to be really good. I think a lot of people are going to be excited for him, but a lot of people that are going to get him right away are the kind of dudes that are going to have Griffey, Trout, Mantle. So, like, it's a toss-up. It's one of those cards that you don't have to get, I don't think, just because of all the outfield options we have this year.
Yeah.
Like, we have so many great outfields. You have Trout, Mantle, Ty Cobb is great, Larry Walker. Mm-hmm. So you don't need Willie Mays, but some people are going to be really, like, I mean, they were really excited for him. You know, there are going to be people that complain about him being a World Series award. Mm-hmm. But, like, at this point in the year, it's like, I think stubs are so easy to come by that people will be able to buy him off the market for a fair price.
Right. We got the new Randy Arozarena World Series card. Would you consider that an end game card?
Oh yeah, the postseason Arozarena.
Yeah.
I think he's phenomenal. His defense isn't the best. He has like 75, like 75 fielding, something like that. Mm-hmm. But the hitting attributes are like some of the best in the game. I think he has like the 125 contact versus both sides. Mm-hmm. And then like 125 power versus righties or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Whichever side it is. He's great. The only issue I've heard with him is that his swing isn't that great. Doesn't really translate that well for some people. They kind of struggle with him.
Yeah.
I've heard some people say that he's got a nice swing too. So, I mean, he's definitely an end-game option if you want to try him. Just the defense is going to be a little sketchy. I think he's more of a bench bat when you could get a lot of good hitting diamond outfielders.
Yeah.
Like diamond fielders.
Well, especially when I get to Griffey, when I get to having Griffey, he's definitely going to be on the bench for me because I already have Mantle and Ty Cobb as my right and center fielder. Who do you have in your center field, Trash?
Center, I have the 99 postseason George Springer. I have the XP reward pass. Prestige, if you guys didn't know that, but
yeah.
In terms of just outfield, we've got so many good outfielders. That's why I'm kind of shaking my head with Randy as being an endgame outfielder. Mm-hmm. Me personally, no. You can throw Griffey, Trout, Mantle. I know some people use Cobb yet. There's a big question mark as who's the endgame outfielder or who deserves to be in that conversation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can. I mean, there's guys that are on mix and match. Maybe throw Larry out there, maybe Trout out there, and then Mays out there, kind of. But there's so many different ways you can go about it and having guys. I think for me, ultimately, it comes down to who you like better, who you hit better with.
Right.
That's with that Springer card. I'm hitting, I think, 350-ish, somewhere around there. And when I'm getting Griffey, it's like, okay, now what do? I have Reggie out in left, and I have Babe out in right. Okay, maybe move Babe to first. Well, I got Things there. But the problem with Things is I'm hitting like 260 with, and compared to everybody else, that's horrible. Mm-hmm. So maybe I throw Babe at first, throw Griffey out in the outfield, and then move Springer or Reggie from left to right, however that's going to work.
Yeah.
Maybe, most likely, I'm not going to get because I can't hit World Series. I'm a broke boy in terms of stubs, so I like out on Willie. And I know I'm probably speaking for a lot of other people out there. You probably really like Willie Mays, for whether you were a fan of him, like, in real life, or you loved using him last year. Mm-hmm. If you're guys that can't make World Series and or don't have the stubs, and you kind of luck out on Willie, you know? You don't get to use Willie. That's why I think a lot of people were hoping he was in the 10th inning with Griffey, and I know a lot of people predicted that.
Yeah.
So, I guess if you're going to have to really grind now, which just even makes it worse, for me at least, because ranked seasons is already as sweaty as can be and super competitive. I think with Mays coming out and not being free in a way, I mean, he is, but he isn't. I think it's just going to add more competitiveness to ranked seasons already. Mm-hmm. And for guys that struggle or get furious and mad because they get unlucky or whatever the case is, mm-hmm. not going to make the game fun for them. I mean, the game in terms of ranked seasons isn't, I guess, fun for some people, but not everybody's going to be able to get Willie. That's why I'm glad there's a lot of outfield options this year.
Right.
That way you don't feel like, in a way, left out. And I say that in a way because if you don't get Willie, well, you still have a ton of other options that are as good or even better than Willie. So I wouldn't necessarily think it's a bad thing that you can't get Willie Mays because there's so many other guys. But we still have to wait and see if Willie's going to be in the conversation for endgame outfield or one of the best. I mean, if he's as good as he was last year, then most likely he could be in that. But if he's worse or his swing's different, whatever, then I don't know. Maybe more people will say he's not than people who say he is. So for a lot of people, including me, I know my outfield's up in the air on what my final outfield's going to look like. I do know I have some moving people around you, so we'll have to see if he plays good. But like, look at Albert Pujols. I know people don't like his swing, but then when you look at it, forget the whole swing problem and whatnot. He's probably a really good card. I've never used him, so I can't really say stuff like that, but if you've used him, you know.
Right.
So if you can kind of ignore the little things like the swing or the stance and just flat out rake with him, oh, then yeah, he's an out-game outfielder for you. He may not be for others, but for you, 100%.
Right.
So well, I guess maybe wait and see if his stats are good, which I would assume. Yeah, but I guess it depends on how you play and how the card plays. There's a lot of things you gotta consider.
Right. Well,
no, definitely.
I know there were some people in the MLB let me try that again. There were some people in the MLB community that were voicing on Twitter that it's a nice card. It's not going to make their lineup, but still a nice card. I mean, yeah, a lot of people were just kind of like, there's a lot of other great outfielders out there. They were just kind of underwhelmed by this. And the thing, something else somebody brought up was the fact that his swing wasn't that great. So you brought up the thing about swings. I've been watching some of Healy's videos, and he's got that Albert Pujols card, and he's batting like 380 something with that Albert Pujols card. The only thing is he's got that little foot hitch.
Yeah, they call it like a hitch in his swing. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you get used to that and make that adjustment, that's a great card to have. Probably the best first baseman in the game. But I know I loved that card last year. That was such a great card. Yeah.
Here's how I look at the whole thing with the World Series awards. Like, I'm someone that makes World Series each season and all that, and being someone who likes to grind ranked, sometimes you get those World Series awards that just aren't even exciting, and like everyone in the community knows they don't even want the card, so there's not much value in making World Series. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, that George Foster card we got earlier in the year, which was the World Series, was like a 97. Like, he had like good hitting attributes, terrible fielder. Most people were going to use him in their outfields anyway. I remember like some of those early World Series awards just didn't sell for much, and it didn't really feel like it was that exciting to make World Series. But like, at least now, you make World Series, and you either get a very good player out of a Pujols or now Willie Mays, which Willie Mays is going to be a top 3-4 outfielder for most people. He's going to be in that conversation, no doubt, just because a lot of people loved his swing last year. His attributes are going to be very similar, if not better, this year. Plus the great fielding and speed, which not many outfielders have. Now that we have Griffey, I mean, you don't have to use him, so you could just sell him, and you'll probably get more stubs out of him than you would for Pujols. So, he's going to be over like 500,000 stubs for a while. So, making World Series, I mean, it adds some competitiveness to ranked, but it actually makes it more worth it to make World Series. And in the end, when they're releasing rewards for World Series, they want it to be worth it. They don't want to give us someone that not many people are going to use. So they have to throw in some big names in there to keep us interested.
I'm glad you brought up ranked seasons. I have such anxiety right before I play ranked seasons. I don't know why. I'm just afraid to lose. And I had an ex-wife who would always tell me that I failed at everything I ever did, and just really put me down. And so I had that little voice inside of me. Anytime I'm losing at ranked seasons, that just beat me up inside. So, is there some advice you can give me, Scan, about how I could possibly get over that? I know you're not a psychiatrist or a counselor or anything like that, but I played you one time. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, our game ended up in a 1-0 game, and the only one you hit off of me was just like a little solo shot. We played. I don't know how many innings we played, but it was a great game. I gave you a close game there for as long as I could before that. But just any advice you could give me on just how to just get more motivated to play ranked, I guess.
It's tough. There are a couple things for me that I always tell people, especially on like YouTube and all that. First of all, it's just like if you're struggling, there's usually something that you can find out you're struggling with. The biggest thing is I always look at the hitting feedback on that bottom left. I try not to tell myself like, oh, why wasn't that swing was good enough to be a hit? Why wasn't that a hit? I try to tell myself, how could I have swung better? What could I have done better on that swing to get that better outcome? Because in the end, we got perfect this year, and that's the best guarantee at getting a hit, a home, or whatever. So if I'm not getting perfect swings, then I'm doing something wrong, very likely. So I try to just like always try to look for what I am doing wrong. And for other people that are struggling, the big thing is, like in the end, like there's a lot of times you lose, it's because you're doing something wrong. So you got to take the time to find out what you are doing wrong and work to fix those issues. Yeah. And then just stay confident in yourself. You know, like if you're nervous or you're worried or frustrated, trust me, it's gonna carry into your gameplay. And you got to be confident in yourself. If you're not feeling it, then you don't have to force yourself. You just got to really be like confident. You know, like, if I practice enough, if I take the time to improve or focus in the game enough, that I can win a game. So I'm gonna be confident in myself. So if there's anything I tell people all the time, it's that. Just really hone in on what they're doing wrong. And honestly, you can't really blame the game for everything. No. As much as some people do. So you have to be willing to blame yourself for messing up, because that's usually why you lose the games anyway. Right. 9 times out of 10, the best player wins a game, from my experience. Yeah. So.
How many players do you have Prestige, Scan? Just off the top of your head.
I don't have an exact number, but I have a lot of the monthly guys done. I have Trout, Mantle, Sheffield, Biggio, all those dudes prestiged. Mariano Rivera. So I would say, I mean, it's going to be around the 10 mark.
10 mark? I'd say. How many do you have prestige, Trash?
I believe 6.
6?
6 or 7, somewhere around that range.
Okay.
I know at one point I had my entire team prestige that were prestigeable. I had like 3 cards that weren't prestigeable, but so I would say about 6.
Yeah, this is how many players I have prestiged. A big fat 0. 0. And the reason is I just don't play enough ranked or events. It's you know, I work so much. The only time I pretty much get to play during the weekends, because when I come home from work, sometimes 6:30 at night, maybe even later at times. I know sometimes I don't even get out of there until 6:45. I'm so tired. I go and lay down on the bed, and I'll fall asleep with my clothes on and wake up at midnight going like, what the heck is going on? I don't remember falling asleep. But yeah, it's so hard to find time to play the game with everything that's going on, and I don't mean to complain because I know there's people out there that are struggling. They're unemployed. They're yeah, and here I am complaining that I don't get time to play a stupid game, but yeah, I am like 2 vouchers away from getting that MVP Trout. So, yeah, I am just getting so close I can almost taste it. Because Mike Trout is just one of my favorite players, and when I got him last year, that signature Trout, that was I never got to pull Trout. I had to buy Trout last year and this year, so yeah, so I just loved having that signature Trout, and I didn't think I was going to be able to get him this year, but El Diablo, yeah, you've heard of El Diablo, right, Scan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me some advice last night, and I was able to knock one more voucher off, and I'm working on the other 2, so I just got to keep doing the flipping them, or working the market and flipping cards and stuff. Let's see. How long have you been streaming, Scan? How long have you been doing Twitch?
I've been doing any sort of streaming since about 2016.
2016. And did you start off with MLB The Show, or did you start out with another game?
No, it was a long way down the road. So, like, when I was in high school, so this is about, like, 2012, 2013, when I was just a kid, I would just mess around. I did a bunch of really bad YouTube videos, and it was before I even had MLB The Show. I was an Xbox boy for a while, and then I was very on and off of that. I didn't really care. I just did it for the fun of it. And then 2016 came around, and I started to stream a little bit on YouTube, and I thought it was fun. Then I had my friends hop in, and we'd all just chat. And I eventually moved my way onto Twitch. Played a bunch of the Battle Royale games like Fortnite, PUBG, all those games that you see. And then I eventually got a PS4 in 2016, but I didn't really play MLB The Show that much until about 18 is when I really, the back end of that, I started to play it a bit because I said I'm going to play all of 19 and go hard on it. I had found out people streamed it on Twitch through a demo raid. And I was introduced to the Twitch community of MLB The Show on here, and I was like, oh, people stream MLB The Show? Well, I guess I'm just going to stay streaming this game, and I just kept on playing it on stream from that point on. I've been doing it like consistently since that point.
How did you come up with your name, TheScann? I mean, that sounds like that's anytime I think of TheScann, I think of the old movie, the old horror movie, The Scanners, where the people's heads blow off.
Yeah, it's mostly a nickname thing. So when I was younger, I obviously I was always a baseball fan, and my cousin, who I'm very close with, would come over. We wanted to come up with like kind of baseball nicknames for each other. So we were coming up with one for me, and based on like my real life name, we came up with the name TheScan. My first name is Justin.
Oh.
Scan is taken from my last name. So we came up with TheScan, and I was like, I like the sound of that because I was a Yankee fan. Kind of did the same thing like A-Rod. Took that kind of concept and put it in my own name. So it kind of stuck with me over time. And then by the time high school had gone around, I wanted to delve into YouTube myself. Decided to trim it down to just Scan. And from that point on, I just did everything with the Scan name.
So, and I see you're wearing your own merchandise there. How is your merchandise line going?
It's been good so far. I've been having fun with it. I still want to get like a professional artist to come up with a couple of things. All of it I've done myself on like Photoshop and all that, and upload it onto the shops. And it's been fun. I like it. I want to get a professional though to get some like really cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
One of these days.
I'll tell you what. As thanks for coming on to our podcast. If somebody sends an email to the email address, I will buy somebody the first person who in the subject line puts in the keyword scan, I will buy them a scan T-shirt of their choice. So, yeah, thank you again, man, for coming on. As a Yankee fan, who do you think was a surprise on for the team this year, and who were you disappointed by?
I think there are two key names that I think of that. Luke Voigt was never someone I thought would be a MVP level kind of player. He had a great year this year. He hit for a ton of power. He was leading the league in homers. I think he finished the league lead at the end, if I remember correctly. That definitely surprised me. He was a big part of the name. And as sad as I hate to say this, I think that there's a big disappointment on the team. It's Gary Sanchez. He's the big question mark. Because you know how good he could hit. The dude was hitting for good average, good power when he first came up. And now the dude can barely even hit homers, it feels like. And his defense has always been kind of mediocre at best. So if he's not going to hit, then he doesn't really add much value to the team. Yeah. So if there's anyone that disappoints me, it's Gary Sanchez, 100%.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, Gary Sanchez started out as gold in MLB The Show 20?
He started out this year as a gold. He was like an 80 overall, and he hit for he was like sub 200 batting average this year, I think. So they just kept on gradually moving his contact down. And he's now a bronze.
I just noticed that the other day, and I was like, oh, how the mighty have fallen. What is one thing you would like to? Well, let me ask you this first. Have you already pre-ordered your PS5, or are you?
Yep, I have it all pre-ordered.
Oh, nice.
Picking it up in a couple weeks. Yep.
Nice. What is one thing you'd like to see in the next edition of MLB The Show 21?
Yeah, you'll probably hear a bunch of people say like, oh, they want gameplay to be better, or they want blah blah blah. For me, I want more customization. I like I'm one of those people that just like has a knack for like come up with uniforms on the team. I think I've had like 20 different uniforms on my team this year. I changed the logo all the time. I want more stuff like that, like something with stadiums. Like even if I can't change the dimensions of my stadium, just let me customize the stadium and like design it all, stuff like that. I find enjoyment in that. If there's any one thing, I would love that.
I'm glad you said that, because I am getting tired of seeing the same old stadiums. Especially, I'm getting tired of seeing Ship It. I'm getting tired of seeing all the other stadiums that I can't think of off the top of my head. It would be so refreshing to see a custom stadium mode in the game, and people would just go wild on their stadiums. I think that would be awesome. What about you, Trash? What is something you would like to see in MLB The Show 21?
If we're sticking with something I would like to see return, I will start there. Just like the simple stuff. Like I was a huge fan of it, just in games in general, of making it no money spent friendly. Get good cards that you don't have to pay any money for. I've been playing games like that for as long as I've been playing video games, and that's been 5-6 years now. I think I originally got my PS4 at the end of 2014, I believe it was. So I would like to see it just stay no money spent friendly. Now, in terms of new, I'm not totally against like custom stadiums or something like that, but I'm like not totally on board with it. So I'm like kind of in the middle. Don't know how I feel about that one. Otherwise, I haven't thought about this, but just kind of, I think one thing that would be interesting, I know it's kind of like your creative player or your cap, whatever you call it. Maybe get some more legends, or I don't know where I was going with that. No, I just thought about that.
Okay.
I guess I don't know. It's difficult to tell because I know I've thought about this beginning of the year, like, oh, I want that like in the game next year, and then I completely forget about it.
Okay.
There was one thing, and it's just not coming to me at the second. But I guess throughout the entire game. But then I know I'm kind of one of those people who's like, oh, fix your gameplay or like little stuff like that.
Okay.
But in terms of something brand new, I haven't really thought about it, so I wouldn't have definitive answers for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna just like sit here and just come up and come up with something off the top of my head and just make myself look stupid, you know?
Right.
But it's just not worth. If I'm not ready to answer that question, and I don't want to sit here looking like a complete idiot.
Right.
So.
Well, that's basically my job. No. Well, you mentioned legends, and I'm actually glad you brought that up. What is a legend you guys would like to see in the game?
I know you're gonna. A ton of people say like Derek Jeter, and that's a very basic answer. And I'm on board with that, but in terms of like a really good player that I think would be really fun in MLB The Show, I really want to see Joe DiMaggio make his way into the game. It's a good Yankee legend, and he'd be one of those end gamey outfielders too. They'd be a very good card too.
That is, you know what? That is. I think you're the first person that's brought Joe DiMaggio up. That is a great choice there. I'd absolutely be on board with that too. Joe DiMaggio was such a great person on the field and off. So yeah, absolutely. What about you, Trash?
If we're going kind of in that fantasy realm, I know my favorite player of all time is Barry Bonds. You can say what you want about that, but it's just my opinion. Now, maybe a Randy Johnson. I would love to have a Randy Johnson. I think that would be really cool. Mm-hmm. Now, in terms of realistic, I would say there's about a 60% chance you could see a Jeter. I would love to see A-Rod return. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. I would like to see Teixeira return. I know I was a fan of him in... what was it? MLB The Show 14 or 15. I forget which one. Maybe a Sammy Sosa. I know a lot of people like to see him. I could care less if he did in the game or not. Mm-hmm. I know I'm a Cubs fan and all, but I never really cared for Sammy Sosa. Mark McGwire would be an interesting one, but
Pedro
I know
Martinez
a lot of
is one of the big ones for me.
On that.
Pedro.
I'm trying to think of people off the top of my head that actually would have a shot. Now, if you're thinking like Hall of Famers, I couldn't tell you. I'm not like that big of a baseball geek per se. Just somebody I've been dying to have would have to be a Bonds or maybe a Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm shocked Larry Walker was in the game. That was one guy I never expected to be in. And now I say we're at Larry Walker. If you guys didn't know, he was supposed to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year, along with Jeter. So when I kind of found out that Larry Walker was in the game, I thought, well, why is Jeter not in the game? Because they're both technically going to be in the Hall of Fame, so wouldn't it make sense to put Jeter in the game too? I guess that's not the case. But at the time, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the big thing is that they have to like buy the rights off the players, and you know, Larry Walker is a great player, but he made the Hall of Fame in his last year on the ballot.
Yeah.
So, you know, I assume that he probably wouldn't have asked for nearly as much money as, say, a Jeter, because in the end, you know, Jeter's going to be Jeter, A-Rod. Those guys are a big pocket to...
Barry Bonds, too. Yeah, Barry...
Oh, yeah.
Bonds, 100%.
Yeah.
And also, Bonds is definitely different as well, because he has his issues with the Players Union. And that's a big thing to keep note of, because he had, I think he had, like, left the Players Union or something, whatever it was, on the back end of his career.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he has his own issues with that, and in case you don't know, the game is kind of directly linked with the MLB Players Union.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why when players are in the union, they're automatically put into the game.
Well,
like, back in the day, they had to, once they get called into the majors, they get put in the Players Union kind of thing, and that's why they used to have to wait to that point to be in the game.
Yeah, and is that why that when Barry Bonds was in the game, he went by
it wasn't
Reggie
name,
Stalker?
It was Reggie Stalker.
Reggie Stalker, yeah.
That's why it was never his real name, because I'm pretty sure it's because the the issues he has with the players' union. So
yeah. Are you much of a football fan, Scan?
I moderately keep track of it. I do fantasy football, and I kind of root for the Giants, but I don't really keep track of it much. I don't watch too much of it.
Yeah,
to be completely honest.
I don't watch too much of it either. In fact, the Rams, my team, they were playing today, and I had no interest. I just had too much stuff I wanted to do. I wanted to grind for Griffey, and I wanted to get some YouTube content done. Which, honestly enough, the 2 games I played in ranked seasons, both were rage quits in like the first inning. So that made for a quick YouTube video. Let me tell you, it was like this is the shortest video I've ever done. I think it was like 8 minutes long. So I was like, all right, well, I think I'm going to end that there. This is Dodgerman saying peace, love, and baseball. We will see you next time. I'm out. And I was like, well, this won't take long to edit either. And yeah, I got it up and uploaded and everything. There was a couple teams I did notice in doing my little DoorDash run tonight. I noticed the Saints were playing a real close game. Trash, do you have the NFL scores pulled up there? Because I know I don't.
In fact, do. If you guys want to, you were talking to the Saints game as soon as it decides to load. It was a 3-point game in overtime. So, yeah, you're right on the close game there.
Yeah.
If you guys want me to skim through the scores, I can do that.
Well, I just want to talk about one thing real quick. I did get a notification on my phone about there was a little fight that broke out. Wims, I don't know his name. I don't follow the team all that much. I'll see if I can look up his name real quick here. But I think he was playing for the Saints, I want to say.
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah. Javon Wims, sucker punches C.J. Gardner-Johnson, sparking Bears-Saints fight. I looked at the video, the replay of this. And in fact, I'll probably look at it now. But what the hell is wrong with football players punching people with their helmets on? I mean, are they that stupid? I mean, I'm sorry, but, you don't punch a guy wearing a football helmet. That's just asking to have your hand broken. So, I don't know.
I do have kind of an answer to that because I'm a big football guy and I can, in a way, relate. Most of the time, it's when your quarterback is sacked or there's a controversy call in terms of a tackle, if it was legal or not. It tends to be your offensive linemen that get to people's faces because they're like in a way trying to back up their teammate. I guess it's more of like a teammate thing. Why it's like that, I have no idea. But it's been like that for years now.
Yeah.
So I can't wrap my head around it. I do think it's stupid because in reality, if you think about you punch a helmet, you're gonna hurt your hand, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I do agree it's dumb, but I guess that you're in that competitive setting, and you got all these emotions, and it seems like half the time you're on adrenaline, so maybe you're not thinking clearly, or I don't know what the case is.
What?
It's one of those random things that happen out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you're a football fan. You're sitting there like, ooh, a fight's gonna break out! Yay, a fight! And you're hyped for it, and then you're one of those guys sitting back there like, oh, great, another fight's gonna happen. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and this is coming from Jordan Moore at iJordanMoore on Twitter. He says, I will never understand why players punch other players with a helmet on. Makes no sense. Javon Wims shouldn't play football again this year. This is pathetic. So, I'm looking at the video here. And
yeah, I am too.
the guy who didn't even seem phased, he just looked at the official, go like, "Did you just see that?" And then the official throws the flag.
Yeah, it looks like he got punched, and he was like, "Wait, what? Did that just happen?" And then he took another shot.
Yeah,
and that's when all hell broke loose.
I mean, I mean, one of the sports I love to watch, besides baseball, is hockey, because those guys know how to fight.
Yeah, he's swinging at his head there.
Yeah,
that is stupid.
That is, yeah. I mean,
you just push him.
Yeah,
you're doing more of an impact by pushing him than slapping his face. It wasn't even a punch. It was like a, eh.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened. I just, I understand it's football. You get heated in the moment and stuff. But, have some common sense. I don't know. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about some of the scores. I know my Rams got beat again. I don't even want to talk about it. They lost to the Dolphins, and I just said I don't want to talk about it, but yet I'm talking about it. I'm sorry, but I as a Ram fan, I do not think Jared Goff is the answer at quarterback. I'm sorry. I used to be on board with him. Now not so much. I'm off the Goff train, I guess you could call it. But he gave up 4 turnovers in the first quarter. He's just, I don't know. If you're a Rams fan, I haven't heard some of the reactions from other Rams fans, but I'm hoping that they have a second string quarterback that can come in and do a better job, because Jared Goff is not it. But why don't you go ahead and let's talk about some of the scores there, Scan, or not Scan, but Trash.
All right, so just a quick skim through of scores. This one surprised me. I know a lot of people were looking forward to this game. We have the Steelers playing the Ravens. The Steelers remain undefeated, winning that game 28-24. The Rams game, just because it's a recap, Rams lose that game 17-28.
You're killing me, man. You're killing me.
I'm sorry, because my dad is a huge Dolphins fan, so I can't wait to talk to him and see what he says.
Okay.
Just had to rub that in.
All right.
No surprise here. The Chiefs walk over the Jets 35-9.
Ooh.
Now this game, I will admit, I was ready to cry. Vikings barely sneak out a win against the Packers 28-22. And like I said earlier, I'm a huge Vikings fan, been for as long as I've been watching football, and I nearly cried. This one shocked me. Colts facing the Lions. Colts win 41-21. This one was interesting too. The Raiders defeat the Browns 16-6. And the Bungles, or the Bengals, I know people like to call them the Bungles because they do some stupid stuff, but they end up winning 31-20 over the Titans.
Yeah, that was surprising.
That one, yeah. This one too. The Bills take the win over the Patriots 24-21.
That's not so surprising. I'm sorry, but the Patriots are not the same Patriots.
Not a Patriot anymore.
No.
This one I was iffy on. The Broncos-Chargers. Broncos sneaked that one out 31-30. Last couple games here, we have the Niners taking on the Seahawks. Seahawks win 37-27. In overtime, like I said, the Saints take the W over the Bears 26-23. And the Panthers-Falcons, which I think was last week's Thursday night game, Falcons win that 25-17. And as we speak, we have the Dolphins, not the Dolphins, what am I saying?
Oh yeah, you love rubbing it in, man. You just love rubbing in the Dolphins, man.
Yep. And then tomorrow's game, as this is being recorded, is the Buccaneers and Giants.
Okay. I'm glad you also brought up the fact that you cried. I think I cried too. Wednesday night when the Dodgers won the World Series. I think I even screamed like a little girl at one point. So yeah, like I'm still. I got this space right here on my wall. That's gonna be like a place for like a World Series plaque. I'm actually. I found this online on the MLB shop. In fact, I even told my wife about it. They had a Dodgers World Series thing with a capsule of game-used dirt for $60. And I even tweeted out last night, I said, would I buy a World Series plaque with a capsule of game-used dirt for $60? Not this time, no. Next paycheck, yes, but not this time, no. But yeah, I'm gonna order it. It won't even get shipped until December 15th or 16th. I don't know why that is. Maybe I don't know, some marketing thing or manufacturing thing. I know my World Championship T-shirt should be here Friday at the end or toward the end of the week, and then I also ordered a license plate frame for my car. So yeah, I'm like your typical Dodger fan. I'm buying all this stuff. I know Benny told me he was buying a whole bunch of stuff. That's another thing I forgot to. Yeah, I did bring that up. Never mind. But yeah. So yeah, this is I changed my camera. This is going to be like my new little showplace thing. I have my autographed old Hershiser card here too, but it's not big enough to go there.
I mean, you could put it on the wall by itself. That would be quite the
yeah.
Just one singular baseball card on the wall.
Yeah, right there.
That would be a good look.
That's perfect. Then I'm like,
yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I think that will do that. Unless you guys got something else you want to bring up.
No, I think we've touched on a lot.
All right. Well, it's like I said, Scan. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure and an honor to have you here.
Of course, bro.
And
anytime.
You've totally legitimized this show with your presence, so I thank you. And thank you again, Trash, for your constant salt on my wounds. So. Yeah. And thank you all for watching out there and listening. This is Dodgerman saying peace, love, and baseball. We will see you next week. We're out. All right.